Well, hello everyone. This is 10 Years Gone, coming to you from the landing zone of SW City. We're going to have a look around here, show you what goes on here on Tuesday night SWI. Let's have a quick look around the landing zone. We see a number of characters present and all manner of things that you can click. But the first thing that you should be looking at is SW City Interactive. So we'll just follow the signs and see where that leads. Now, just a little note, I like to set my visibility here to 100 meters. It's about half of what I normally use, but SWI, or SW City, is quite built up in this area. You can experience lag in a big way. Well, we followed our signs to the SW City Interactive headquarters. Now, unfortunately, a lot of what happens in SW City takes place by taking over your 3D web window to show you the web page. And here we are at the information character. I want you to take special note of that blue bubbly particle emitter. Wherever you see that, that's something significant in the game. And the first thing that we find is our registration papers. Let's have a closer look at that. Now, I've already tried and know the frame grabber plugin does not grab the web page from there. Now, some of you have expressed some concern about they don't want to join because they don't want to give out their email address and such. There are over 1,500 people that have registered for SW City, and no one has complained about spam. We don't give out spam. That's not really what we're about. However, we find all manner of characters here, and I'm fairly certain that you will pick up your mouse over. These characters are explaining the idea of SWI cards. They're collector cards that you can pick up around the city. And basically they're just for fun. You collect the cards just to say that you've been in a certain place. Let us assume that you've registered. What we have now is the beginner's quest. You get your feet wet on what the game is actually all about. As you can see, there are a lot of characters, each of which will talk to you if you click on them. I'm not seeing any oh, there's one with a mouse over, which I know that the screen will pick up. It says talk to the NPC. You mouse over the characters and, well, you can talk to them. They'll tell you little bits of information. Some of it is just colorful background text, but others very significant. You should probably write down any clues that they give you. Here we are at the quest wing of the SW City Interactive. For what is labeled here is the beginner's quest. With plenty of signs and arrows to keep you pretty much on track of what you're doing. When he assigns you a quest, he'll ask you to deliver a letter. And he'll ask you to deliver it to the subway. And one of the mistakes I see a lot of people making is they're not making use of the clues that are right in front of them. And now you could go back to the town square and go to the subway from there. It's fairly easily marked. But this door does say that it leads directly to the Grand Central Station. As you can see, we're pretty much right there. just a few interesting things that I like to touch on. This is a historical monument, and there is a concept in the game called standing, which is to say what the characters in the city think of you. If you were to click on this, it would bring up a historical plaque which you could read, and the Historical Society would take note that you have an interest in SW City history, which is actually some incredibly good background text, and increase your standing. So we go through, and what you can't read because it's in the text is that upstairs is the monorail and downstairs is the subway. Subway is what we're interested in. So down we go. Somewhere in this subway is a character that you must deliver a letter to. Remember the telltale blue particle emitter. I don't want to give up too much of the show, but I've pretty much already shown you the character that's significant. Coming back out of the subway, let's take a look at some of the other things that we do find around the city. Again, all of these characters will talk to you if you're registered with SWI. Here we have a user terminal, which will bring up all your statistics and inventory. Any number of fun stuff. Now here we have an Ambition who has a particle emitter. Anytime you see something like that, it's well worth your while clicking it. And that pretty much generally shows you how you go about finding quests, and the basic idea is to hunt for your objective and find it. Of course, there's more to SW Interactive than simply doing quests. Well, it's basically an Easter egg hunt. And the next thing I like to cover in our orientation is how to generate an income. So we'll just follow along this pathway back to the town square. And we're pretty much back to where we came from. Oh, this is something interesting. This is the famous clock tower, and we're not entirely certain whether these guys are painting or attempting to clean up some graffiti. But if you can make that out, that does say syntax. That's a fairly prominent SW citizen from right back at the beginning. And that picture there is actually of a pav that he had made years ago. Well, I've seen him in Alpha World wearing it around. And we're just coming back into the town square again. Got a monorail overhead, and a few more characters that are willing to talk to you. And we're about to find our first occupation in SW City. And it's not glamorous, but this is the easiest and cheapest occupation to get into, and it's a very good way to secure an income. A little bit of random noise from the neighbors. I don't know what that's about. I don't care. As you can see, I've just recently dumped my cache, so we're going to have a little bit of the Emerald City effect. That's a fact of life in AW. I forgot that I hadn't got this area cached. But here we are at the Department of Sanitation. And this Nimbician right here is quite happy to set you up collecting trash, and he will pay you for the trash that you do collect. Yeah. So the easiest occupation to get into is that of garbage man. Now, you shouldn't really turn up your nose at being a garbage man, because certain cards and quests you can only get if you have standing with the Department of Sanitation. And as you go around finding out places where you can collect your trash, which would be these garbage cans with the telltale exclamation point marker we have floating on them, which, see if you can see the mouse over. No, it's not coming up on my screen. This guy here will hand out specific quests that are specifically geared to garbage collectors. So, you go around, do your job, maybe find a few treasures here and there in the trash. They do call dumpster diving. And pick up a few flint and a few SWI cards. Now, the wonderful thing about this area is that it is absolutely filled with quests. And for those of you following SWI Tuesday Nights, you might remember that just up here, outside of the square, we did a group quest that began with talking to these characters right here. And one of them is of the opinion that Commie Corps is up to some shenanigans that they really shouldn't be. So if you have any complaints about the shenanigans that Commie Corps might be up to, it is named after SW Comet, and I'm sure he will ignore you. Quite happy to ignore all the complaints you may have about his major corporation. Going back here, we find a few other significant things. Now, I did mention the Historical Society, and there's another one of their historical plaques. Plenty of characters that you can talk to. Lots of nooks and crannies to explore here in SW City. Little passages that you might not be aware of immediately. They are there for you to find. And here we come out to where they've displayed their SWI awards. And this one is dating back to 2002. I certainly hope the neighbors are not coming through on the audio. No, there's nothing I can do about it. Now, the most highly sought after and lucrative career in SW City is actually an archaeologist. And this is the ruins of the ancient Scarburian capital. And this little guy here would be quite happy to set you up as an archaeologist. And again, dig sites are clearly marked. I should be able to find one quite handily here. Yes, again, by the floating exclamation point, showing you something significant there. And the ground here is absolutely riddled with them. Well, this is not one of the characters. I seem to have randomly ran into someone who's actually playing. Oh, we wish him best of luck in his game. Okay, here we have one of the many historians, SW City. Now, he won't talk to you right away until you've developed a certain amount of standing, but he is well worth talking to. What we do have down here is something a little more interesting for beginner players. One of my favorite characters in the game is, of course, Rodin. He is a sub-minion that buys weapons. If you really luck out in your archaeological digs, you can find pieces of weapons. And Rodin will be quite happy to assemble them for you for a small fee that's well worth paying. The weapons are worth considerably more in one piece than they are just fragmented. Over here is another one that is actually part of the Historical Society as well. And she will assign a fairly basic quest. Find all sorts of bits and pieces. Here we have an area of the archaeological site called the Harford Divide. And if you are going to find weapon fragments, this is the most likely place to find them. And just one more thing, one or maybe two more things. Well, I'd like to show you. Coming up here, you'll find and he's looking a little bit wobbly on his pegs. His legacy ath, which you may remember, is named Philippe. And yeah, he's looking way waggly on his pegs, and he has that telltale particle emitter. Apparently, he has run out of stamina points, and he can't dig anymore. And once you start digging, you'll find out all about what that's like. He'll actually pay you a little bit more than the Historical Society will if you can luck into certain artifacts. Coming through is again more hidden nooks and crannies that well, they may have something worthwhile in them, certainly. Not want to give away what those might be, just here we are. A sign here says danger, do not enter, so of course we're going to walk right through. That's a little back way shortcut that I found to the Scrael mines, where you will be introduced to the third profession, which will give you some income. And we're in a mine with a representative from, I believe, Syncorp by the name of Bruno Mars, who will pay you quite handsomely if you'll find some crystals for him. However, you are not allowed to mine unless you have a permit. Now, this is a little bit pricey for players on their first day, but it's an investment worth making. And here we are at the mining headquarters, Numa. And in this office is where you would go to purchase mining equipment and a mining permit. Anyway, this concludes our orientation video for SW City. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, a little note from the weatherman that I heard today is that tonight I'm expecting thunder, lightning, hailstorms, high winds, and all sorts of things that can be very detrimental to internet connections. I'll try to stay online as long as I can. And if I'm not here, I hope this video will stand as tonight's introduction to SW City. Thank you all, and see you next video.